Hi. uh, I'm going to be doing a small presentation about the environments in working in stations. And to start with, just introducing myself. My name is Gísli Konráðsson, and I am a 3D artist working on the environments. I started at CCP in 2006 as a game master and was moved to art roughly a year ago. So, why are we putting so much emphasis on the environment in working in stations, or this? The reason for that is mostly because it's a very important point to remember that we are not making a new game with working in stations. We're making an expansion to EVE Online. And that means that we have to follow the gameplay that EVE has installed, like the sandbox feeling. So we are trying to make working stations, the environments, not be static. So, like if you saw Torvi's presentation before with the geomerics and light system, and that's something we are trying to get into the hands of the players. So the players will be able to customize the environment up to a certain point. Customizing, it's not only light and shadows and stuff like that, it's also colors, of course, and areas and props and placeables and stuff like that. And we believe that we are taking this customization concept to a new level when we are giving the players this much control over an MMO environment. And how are we going to do this? If we are giving the players so much power and we are putting I'm kind of lost here. The players will be able to buy props from the market, as you can imagine, and place them in the establishment, just like you saw in the demo. And what we have been doing for the environment is make sure that they will fit correctly into the environment and not stand out. And we are going to be doing that with this dynamic light simulation and shadows. And also what's going to add to this are the customizable bots, which you will be able to program to make missions, just like Torvi said in his presentation. So if we are going to be putting all this power into the player's hands, then what are we doing? We are making sure that the art assets are made in a way that they will fit in almost all rooms and look correct in all the rooms. And we are also making sure that the customization that will be available to the player is not going to break the feel of the game. We want you to have, like, for example, if you have a Minmatar chair, and let's say a Minmatar bar, and you can customize the colors and the light and the shadows, but we still want you to know that you're walking into a Minmatar bar. So that's one of our greatest concerns and what we have been doing a lot. Protecting the style and look of each race. We don't want you to break something that's Minmatar by giving you too much power of the customization. And we are also testing how far we can stretch each looks. For example, how much customization can we put on a Minmatar bar without it stopping being Minmatar? So that's basically what we are doing, and that's why a great amount of time is going into research and concept making and stuff related to that. Why is this awesome? I really wanted to put this in. Because we are, like I said before, we are still making EVE, and EVE is awesome. This is not a new game, this is an expansion. Working in Station is an expansion. And the advanced shadow and light systems are also really awesome. And if you saw Torvi's presentation about the geomerics light solution, you must see how amazing it is and how much this is going to add to the game. The art we are making is made to last, and I was going to show you a slide of one of the minigame pieces. They are pretty small on the screen, but the concept that we are making is hyper detailed, and it's something that's made in the same level of quality as for feature films and stuff related to that. And we have been playing it a lot, of course, and it is really fun. And I really hope that you'll get the chance to go into the demo room and try out the game and play the game, because it is fun, especially the minigame. Okay, the rooms that we have in the demo. This is a vertical slice. This is like this is the basic skeleton of what the game is going to be like. We're going to add to the side. We're going to make it bigger, and so yeah. Okay, at least the promenade is huge. If you saw the demo, it took a while to walk between the rooms, so it is very huge. And making an asset like this is no easy feat. We've been battling problems just because our computers aren't powerful enough to handle this asset, and it's really fun to be actually working on something like that for games and not something like movies. The demo we were seeing only showed the top floor, but there are 3 floors in the promenade that you will have access to, and then there are other areas that you won't have access to, like the life support area and cargo area. So it's not just a room. It's like a place in the space station. It's supposed to be the heart of a space station. And another cool thing is it's only available to the pod pilots. So if you look into some of the other areas, you can see the lesser humans, the people who are not pod pilots, because of course pod pilots are demigods and we wouldn't want to socialize with the lesser humans that walk around on the lower floors. So that's also really cool, because this is going to add to the life of the promenade. So we are hoping that once a lot of people are in there, this is going to feel like a mall, that it's crowded, and you really get a feel of being actually in a space station. The promenade also has facades, which you can see in the demo, and facades are basically the entrances of the establishments that are fitted into sockets, and that's owned by the player. So you can have a facade yourself in a promenade, and the design for the promenade is to have 16 facades in each promenade, and so you can imagine that if all of them are filled, customizing each facade is going to have a significant effect on the look of the promenade. So that's how we are designing it, so that so the players will be able to make it look like they want, well, at least have a substantial effect on how it's going to look. This is just a screenshot from the client. So you can see on the top there are 2 bar facades in there, and there's as well a centerpiece for the promenade, and the bio area is there as well, and you can see the 3 floors, and it's not a very good screenshot, but at least you can see how huge this is, and when you start really walking around in there, you'll find that it is actually a problem, actually, how big it is, because it takes a while to get between places, but we have plans to fix that. Okay, a facade is the entrance to an establishment. A facade can, if you play the demo, you have a facade for the Minmatar bar, and that's a Minmatar bar facade. And it is the entrance to the establishment through the promenade, like I said. And this is going to be your tool to attract players to your establishment, because if you rent a bar somewhere, and then I assume you want people to come to your bar, then why would some player come to your bar rather than the 15 others in the promenade? So we are going to be giving you tools to customize the facades so that you can really make your bar stand out. So if you focus on exotic dancers, you will be able to have a strip club, basically. So that's very, very interesting, and will be fun to see. Male strippers. That's a design choice. It will, and the fun thing about this is that this will affect how the promenade will look and feel. So we design a promenade, and then the players can do pretty much whatever they want with it, because they can customize the light of the facade and put props outside of the facade. So we're just basically providing you with a shell, which is really interesting, which really adds to this sandbox feel that EVE Online, in my opinion, is. And here you can see a facade. This is the Minmatar bar facade, and you can see there are signs. I think the sign actually says Circus, which is a bar that CCPers go to a lot, did actually. And these are the 3 items in this design that should be customizable. And you can see the exotic dancer glow sign and the name of the bar and like the main sign. So that's going to be interesting. And of course also lights and placeables and props. So this is you can have a lot of control over it. Okay, the establishment, which are, for example, the bar or the tattoo parlor or the body modification establishment, we have not made like a final list of how many establishments there are going to be. So if you have ideas, the forums are a great way to contribute them. So there are a lot of different kinds of establishment, and they will mostly be owned by the players, if not all of them. And the demo is only showing the bar, and the next slide will show you that the 2 establishments can look completely different, even though they're both the same type. So a Minmatar bar can, if you customize the light, if you customize the colors of the wall, if you customize the materials of the wall, you place props around, you place NPCs, then you can walk into 2 bars and they look completely different. And that's really how this is designed. We are designing this so you have the power to make it as cool as possible, because I think you can. And it will be the owners of the establishment's responsibility to draw in clients. And I mean, you don't really want to have an empty bar, so you can put up mini-game tables and organize events and have small fun missions in there. So yeah, that's. We're going to have corporation foyers and offices. They might be used as recruitment centers, as you heard in Torve's presentation. I always kind of thought of my first corporation foyer having the frozen corpse displays of my enemies. I really want people to walk into a foyer of something and see my enemy's frozen corpse floating around. But I mean, that's me thinking as a player, and that's really something you can do with this. It's a show of place, so if you have any medals and stuff like that, then that might be possible to show. And as a reception, if you are trying to get people into your corporation, you can set up bots to have them answer questions and take tests and stuff like that. Okay, the Minmatar bar is the one in the demo. It is missing the ownership part of the gameplay, because you can't really customize anything. But I'll show you, there will be slide pictures of how much this can affect the game, affect the look. And yeah, I've said this before. I don't know if you know who this is. This is Humphrey Bogart in Casablanca, and this is kind of what I really want people to go. I want this is the role-playing aspect of it. You should be able to be a bar owner, a cool tycoon bar owner who people come and drink beer with, and that's what we are trying to accomplish. Okay, this is the Minmatar bar with props. Some of these are chairs and sofas and stuff like that. And this is an empty bar. This is all the same model. So you can see how much the placeables, the props contribute to the look of the bar. So this is really empty, even though it's not the same place. It's really, really empty. and there's a chair in there. So when you go and play the demo is filled with props. We populated the scene for you. So just if you remember this and then you go play the game, then you can see how much an effect this can have. Color variation. The player will be able to customize the colors of part of the environment. This is also a really important feature. We've been doing tests on how to do this, and this is not just going to be as color slider. We're going to have actual material switching, so you can have a plastic wall, or you can have a gold wall, or brushed metal wall. And we've been doing a lot of research into how to best accomplish this, because we don't want anything to stand out, but this is where we want to go with this. And like I said, we want to give the player as much control as possible, but it can't be too much because we don't want to kill the mood of the game. We have very well-defined looks of the races, and we are just kind of seeing how far we can stretch them. And that's basically what we have been doing. Yes, this is the captain's quarters, just to show you what areas might be customizable. So you would have, if you owned this establishment, you could customize these areas and maybe switch out the top thing for a more reflective, shiny gold surface or something like that. So that will have a lot of effect on this. The biggest visual impact to a room are the placeables and the props, in my opinion, because you can have a lot of them and they can be interacted with. They can be show-off pieces. So, like I said before, the frozen corpse display, and you'll probably have a metal display or something like that. So you can be proud. You can fit your establishment with things that make you proud, and have other people come in and see your accomplishments, basically. And many of the placeables will allow you to interact with them, such as the minigame placeables. And you might even be able to make ISK of it if you set up a bot or a vending machine. Yeah, you could set up a vending machine, and that would, you could sell beer. You buy beer for 100 ISK and sell it for 1,000. So it is a possibility. We're thinking about that. And this is also a very cool thing I wanted to show. I don't know if you'll notice it when you're playing the demo, but this is a Minmatar chair, which is actually made out of a 425 projectile shell. And it actually is to scale. So I really thought that was cool. And there are a lot of small things like this in the game, in the demo now. So I really encourage you to go and zoom into everything you can zoom into and try to figure this out, because we have been putting a lot of work into the detail. And like I said, this is designed to last. And we're not just making something, and we're really thinking about all of these details. And there are a lot of these little hints that tie into Eve. I actually, does anyone have any questions? I don't really have much more to present. Does anyone want to ask me something about the environment? Wait, sorry, we have a mic, I think. Where is, oh, okay. You'll probably have to come and get it if you want to ask something. Unless...
Thank you. Hello. Yeah. Will there be roles or something in corporations?
Roles. So you can.
So you can assign like the decoration tasks to that one queer member you got.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. So you can.
So you can assign like the decoration roles to this one queer member you got in your corp.
I'm not sure. I mean, this is going to be tied into the Eve gameplay, so I would assume that roles would have some use, but you're probably not going to be able to affect much how other players will look or stuff like that. Did that answer your question? Or?
No, not really.
Okay. Could you ask it again?
Will there be roles the CEO can give to the members? So like this one person can redecorate the corp bars or whatever.
Yeah. So you mean could you have like an interior decorator of your corp?
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. We haven't really thought about that, but I mean I think that's probably logical. I mean the ownership thing of the establishment hasn't quite been designed yet, but I mean it is a logical idea. So. Maybe, I mean, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? He has a question or?
One thing I'm aware of is that, in a sense, the first day this goes live, everywhere's going to be empty. Is there a way that one can actually build stuff so that when the thing does go live, you can actually have something on stations for people to look at and not get depressed the very first day?
I can't really say. I mean, I don't really know. It just hasn't been decided. Like I said, it's as good as the idea as any, and I mean, maybe just. But I mean, there will be. You'll probably, I assume, that you'll be able to buy packages, furniture packages, for your establishment. I mean, I think that's a logical thing. But yeah, we haven't really thought about it. So. Yeah.
Will it just be one person assigned to change the detail of the bar? Because otherwise, if you've got 40 or so members in a corp all changing the bar to look how they want it, you'll have problems.
Yeah, I really don't know. We haven't really decided much about the who is going to be doing what. We're just like laying out how the establishment are going to be customized. But as for roles and stuff like that, it hasn't been really decided. So.
How are we going to? I'm horrible. How? Yes, I know. Anyways, how do we? Will the prices of the products be on scale to like their size and scope? And are we going to be paying 10 mil for a chair? Or are we going to, do I have to pay billion for a gold-plated toilet or something? I mean,
Yeah, that's
obviously I need a throne.
That is actually a very, very good question, because we were thinking about this and how could we justify that? I mean, if you have a bar and you want to charge for the beer, and you charge 300,000 disc, and how can a beer be as expensive as a small frigate? So we've actually been thinking about this, and I am fully confident that game design will find a solution for this. But it is.
I'm going to charge $1 million.
Yeah.
For my drinks. I mean,
Yes.
you're all welcome to come to my bar.
So your drink must be as. You have to have drinks as good as a small cruiser. So, yeah. Any other questions? Maybe about yes.
I have a question concerning the captain's quarters.
Yeah.
What's the vision for having offices, or having captain's quarters at different stations? Would the design follow you as you traverse stations?
As it is now, a captain's quarters appears in the station you were in. So if you dock at a station and leave your pod, you appear in your captain's quarters. And if you then leave and go to another station, then you again dock in a captain's quarters, which then would be your captain's quarters. But this has been, we have been debating about this, and we don't really have a final decision that I'm aware of. But it has been brought up, and we have concerns both ways. But
I have a question.
Yes.
Two, the initial, when you implement this,
Yes.
will it be the corporations that own offices in those stations will have first shot at getting a bar, or will the bars be individually owned, or does it have to be corp owned? And, is there going to be like a bum rush to get those highly populated areas? How are you going to implement who's going to be able to put the bar in that station?
This is a question where that we haven't decided. We haven't done any extensive player testing on this. And I assume that once we start doing that with more than just the devs, that problems like these we will be able to solve issues like these. But at the moment, we don't really have a design for that.
And I heard you saying something about displaying corpse.
Yes.
Okay, could one of the decorations be the mounting of like trophy prize kills in your bar?
It is a possibility. I mean, we have in the client now, we have a prop, which is the frozen corpse display that you can place anywhere within reason where you want. But to the subject of if it can be, this is your frozen corpse, I'm not sure that.
Oh no, somebody you killed. And you cut their head off and mount him.
Yeah, not. I mean,
You can display your trophy.
yes, we haven't really decided on that, but that's something for the forums, features and ideas. Yes, great.
I wanted to know about bouncers. I mean, there are going to be a lot of racist bastards like CVA out there that don't want to let any Minotaur in. Are we going to have the ability to put out bouncers and people that can basically keep out, people with low standings, pirates, anyone with high standings, things like that?
That is the idea, that the standing, you will be able to close your establishment to you if you don't want Amar people to come into your bar, then you can do that. And also, we're also hopefully going to be putting in that you're going to be able to customize the avatars to react differently to people based on their standing. So if you're a Alliance player A and you don't like Alliance player B, then you can have all your bots like yarring at them or something like that. So yeah. At least that is the idea. Sorry. Yeah.
I have a little question about since we're pod pilots and are lazy and don't like to walk.
Yes.
Will we get any sort of vehicles that we can use inside?
Vehicles. There are in the promenade, the big promenade. We have moving walkways, which is just basically like the thing that you have on the airport. As for vehicles, I really can't say. We haven't designed anything related to that yet, at least.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, maybe one more question.
You decided to go with the captain's quarters on the stations and not with captain's quarters on the ships. How comes?
That is the design now. It was a decision. I'm not really sure what the reasoning behind it was, but I assume that this is still open for discussion. So I can't really tell you why it's like that, but this isn't just we didn't just say, okay, let's just put them there. This was something we were having meetings about a lot, and it is a very important issue. And this is the solution that we have today. I'm not really sure on the specifics why, but if you can find reasoning to do something else, then I mean, we'd love to hear them. So, okay, I think that's it. I just want to encourage you to go and play the demo, and if you have any ideas or suggestions or criticism, just poke the next Walking in Stations developer, because we are really enthusiastic about this and we will really want to know what you think or hear what you think. So, thank you.